I'm not swishing my hips for attention. I'm swishing my hips because I am naturally divine, sensual. I'm a siren, okay? It was in me since I was born, not on me. Okay? It just is what it is.
Chipo TV.
All right, y'all. So I just have to get on here to make a comment about something that I saw the Queen, Phylicia Rashad, bring up and make a comment about on her recent Breakfast Club interview.
And I don't mean to be critical, and I hope young ladies listening don't take this as personal criticism, because I don't mean it that way. But you're young queens, beautiful and smart and brilliant and bright. And it really, I know I'm taken aback when I see on a college campus young women dressed in strips of clothing.
Mm.
I mean, male instructors don't like it. But more importantly than that, and you'd correct me if I'm wrong, sir,
Mm-hmm.
no man wants his woman to be out like that.
Mm.
Right?
No, I grew up on Method Man saying, wearing 3/4 of cloth, never showing your stuff off. Boo. That's what he said.
That's right. And that's the part where it hit a nerve, okay? Because somebody like me, you know, I feel like I dress a lot of different ways, but a lot of the times I like to accentuate my body, show off my curves, you know, show a little skin. Like today I had my stomach out and all of that when I was walking down the street. And the reason why it hit a nerve is because I don't get sexy and I don't get dressed for men. Just simple as that. I don't get sexy and I don't get dressed for men. Now, I understand what she is saying, because I do feel that there is a section of women, or some women, who probably dress up and get really sexy because they don't feel like they're enough without it. They don't feel like they are enough, you know, unless they're dolled up and showing their curves or they have a certain figure, you know. And I think there is a lot of that going around, but once again, that's all centered around the male gaze and feeling of value based on validation from another man. And like for me, while I understand and I agree with her about saying like covering up can be very sexy and leaving some things to imagination, I 1000% agree, because, you know, as much as I like to get butt naked and have my titties out, I also really enjoy covering up, and I feel just as beautiful when I'm doing that. But the issue with that is that it's still centered around like what men, and I don't think she really feels this way, but it's the undertone of what she was saying. It's still centered around what men want to see. And it just aggravates me also sometimes, because this notion of covering up and being appropriate with your clothes, a lot of it is post-colonial and the society that we live in, the Western society that we live in, okay? Because although women in the Americas, especially in North America, are, you know, a lot more free than maybe some women in Eastern cultures, at the same time, you know, that's not even in Black people nature to be wearing all them damn clothes in the first place. Let's be real. That's not in indigenous people nature to be wearing all them damn clothes, okay? Because there actually used to be a time, in some places there still is, but there actually used to be a time where a woman could walk around with her titties out and a man not think with their dick. Okay, that is the real conversation. Why do I have to police my clothing based on a man? Okay, because let's be clear, when I'm going out in the streets and, you know, I'm walking and I know I gotta walk somewhere, I'm not gonna do too much with clothing wise, okay? But that's not because, you know, I'm doing it for a man. I'm doing it for safety. Because unfortunately, in the society that we live in, if I walk outside looking too skimpy, then I have to worry about a man not understanding that no means no, okay? I have to worry about a car following me And I have to worry about just, you know, being bothered while I'm walking down the street, okay? And then if I turn them down, the fear of getting cussed out, okay? And don't get me started on trans women, because if they get rejected or exposed, then bitch, they ass might get knocked upside their head, which is even worse, okay? So, you know, usually when you see me being like really sensual and sexy, it may be because I'm going to a specific event where I feel, you know, safe, or I'm at home. And then the other part, I do it when I'm not in this damn country, okay? Because baby boo, when I was living in the Caribbean, in Mexico, or, you know, in Colombia or whatever, in that, you know, Central America, in the Caribbean type of area, baby, it's, first of all, it's hot out, too damn hot to be wearing all them damn clothes, okay? First and foremost. And the skin be showing, the stomach be out. Like, I could literally walk outside with a bikini and a scarf on. And of course, men are gonna look and they say, oh, you're beautiful, but they're not thirsty. They walk away. And most damn time, they don't even give a damn. They don't even care. They just admire the beautiful woman, beautiful Z. Wow. You know, adios mío. Okay, morena. Wow. La negra. Que bonita. Wow. Treat you like a queen and keep on moving, okay? And then when I really think about other societies and other cultures, like in Polynesian cultures, in certain, you know, tribes throughout Africa, you know, because it's different. Some parts of Africa is really conservative, and the other parts, you know, are more, have more indigenous way of being, or like throughout the Caribbean, or in places like Brazil, where people are always showing their skin, showing their body, and wearing minimal clothing. But guess what? And of course, they have to worry about people, you know, maybe wanting to talk to them because they got it poked out. But it's not overkill, and it is what it is. And ain't nobody pressed about it. And I feel like there's a real problem in America, in North America, and just like in places like, you know, in Europe, with the suppression of sexuality and expressing your sensuality, okay? There's a real problem. It's really imbalanced, because there's so much shame around, you know, showing your bodies, or, you know, being open about your sexual preference, or being sexual at all. I feel like two extremes happen. Either you become really prude and really like closed off to being intimate, especially if you've experienced some sexual trauma, or, you know, something like that. You may feel the need to cover up to protect yourself, you know, affecting your sense of safety, and worried about judgment. Child, I had to add in this voiceover because my ass get to talking and be skipping over points. But like I was saying, on one end, you can be sexually conservative, but on the other end, you could become very promiscuous and, you know, overly active sexually, or a hoe. You know, these are all symptoms of shame, you know? And from a lot of us, we've encountered that shame firstly with our parents, especially young girls, when we, you know, start to feel ourselves and try to, you know, dress a little skimpy, or, you know, do things that where we're expressing our sensuality, and then we end up getting our ass beat, getting whoopings for, you know, being quote unquote too fast. That happened to me a lot, because sometimes I wanted to wear a mini skirt, and sometimes my mom was right. You know, you don't want to wear that. You don't want to show your butt too much. But, you know, to be beat to a pulp because I'm wearing a mini skirt, that's a bit much, okay? And then even the way I walk, my hips, they naturally switch side to side when I walk, okay? They naturally switch side to side when I walk. Like, that's just how my hips made. That's how my grandma made. You know, that's how we walk. And I remember I was like 13 at the time, and I was walking down the track, and this man was with his girlfriend looking at me walk. and he was like, oh, you think you fast. You fast. You know what I'm saying? Walking, he was like, she trying to get my attention. Mind you, I didn't even know this man was in front of me. I mean, behind me. I'm a little girl. I'm walking. My hips move side to fucking side when I walk. Okay? And I damn sure wasn't thinking about boys at 13. The hell? Not like that. I mean, I may have had a little crush on Al Green or something, but what the fuck? I wasn't thinking about no man. And I remember that moment because it made me want to like walk and tuck my hips in and not move so nobody won't think that I want something. And I started to realize as I got older, that's not my problem, that's his problem, because the reality is that you were probably sexualizing me as I was walking and thinking things and trying to think that I'm doing something for you. Boy, I'm not even thinking about you. Okay, I'm being me and my hips are wide. Okay, bitch, look at this. Hips go side to side. Okay? And it's comfortable. Bitch, now you look like you're forcing it. Hold on. Let me move my stuff so I can give y'all an example. This is how my grandma walked. And that's it. Like, I cannot help it. Walk like this. I used to try to make myself walk like this so I wouldn't fucking move my hips so nobody won't think I want them. Okay? I'm not doing that for attention. I'm just naturally, I'm not, hold up, bitch. Let me get from around this chair. I'm not swishing my hips for attention. I'm swishing my hips because I am naturally divine, sensual. I'm a siren, okay? It was in me since I was born, not on me, okay? It just is what it is. And, you know, it's funny because because of that, like even walking to the bus when I was a kid, by myself, you know, because I lived in the hood, and I hate to say it, but, you know, you have to deal with a lot of shit, like, with men in the street, like, because, you know, we hear stuff about girls getting picked up, girls getting raped, or older guys trying to talk to young girls. So I remember my mom thought I was gay for the longest because I would wear boy clothes. Because even in school, like, I would be just a regular girl wearing regular clothes, and the little boys would be grabbing my titty, running and grabbing my ass every day at school. And they didn't get in trouble for that shit in school. And I don't think nobody really cared that much. And if they did, they probably got punished here and there, but they kept doing it. You know, so after a while, I just started wearing boy clothes. You know, I would wear Hawaiian t-shirts. I would always shop in the men department. And I think my mom thought I was a lesbian or something, but I was just really ashamed of showing my body. I really was, because I was just like, I don't want, and it made me actually hate being a woman at one point during my adolescence, because I was like, you know, it sucks. Like, it's like I have to constantly worry about somebody doing me something, you know, just because I'm a girl. And then just seeing how we are portrayed in film and media, like always needing a man, you know, having a man to come save us, or our only purpose in the movie is to be their love interest and to be pursued. It was just like, it was lame to me, you know. But there was always a part of me that, you know, loved being, you know, really sensual and showing my body and all of these type of things. And because I remember I saw Carmen Electra, I think it was like a striptease workout, and I used to love watching it. I just thought she was fab, and just, you know, of course I loved Josephine Baker when I was young. Like, I loved her. You know, I would watch her videos all day. And that's another thing that was interesting about what Phylicia said, which I know what she's talking about, because some women do that strictly for attention. But, you know, the thing I love about Josephine is she represented that liberation in her body and her sensuality. And unfortunately, she had to leave America at that time, because if y'all think shit was bad now for women, just think about how it was about 100 years from now. Literally, that was like 100 years ago. Okay? And it was hella racist. I'm talking about the type of racist, they was still hanging motherfuckers. They was hanging black people, okay, back then. And she was dancing with her breasts out. you know? Because this is art. You know, God blessed me with this body, okay? I didn't earn my body, okay? I didn't work hard for this body. I was lucky, I was blessed by God to be a pretty person and have a beautiful physique. What an expression. And it should be celebrated because it's divine. And no matter what your shape or size, how you look, it should be celebrated because your body is divine. And if you want to cover it up, that's cool too. But baby, don't rain on my parade. But yeah, so just going back to like being in school, like this is why I used to dress like a boy, and this is why I used to not like being a girl. And it actually was two things that made me start feeling comfortable to embrace my own personal sensuality. And the first thing is drag queens, because drag queens get it. You know, they are using divine feminine expression to celebrate creativity and also to celebrate and pay homage to women, dynamic women, okay? And sometimes it can get, you know, overboard, you know, that's a whole nother story. They can get, you know, they just act like straight men sometimes with how they view women, but at the same time, like, I remember I was watching Wigstock, one of my, you know, favorite docs, about this drag queen festival in New York back in the 90s. And he was just like, when I dress up in drag, you know, I'm thinking about my mother and I'm trying to honor the women in my life and how strong and powerful she was.
I don't look like a woman, never will look like a woman. You know, I think of myself
in the dark, maybe.
I mean, I think of myself as a, you know, butch drag queen, manly drag queen, whatever. I give what I got, you know, and I'm paying homage to strong black women.
But women are a lot stronger than men generally anyway, because since they've been oppressed so long, they've always had to find opposite avenues of how to be strong, because they're more emotionally strong, they're more in touch with their spirituality, they're more in touch with just
They
like
live
this
longer.
essence.
I mean,
they can have sex until they're 90, honey. The dick goes at what, 60, but the cunt stays on till 95. Hello, they get fucked down. You know, so it's just, and my mother, I look at my mother being able to raise 3 kids, have a husband, cook, go to work. Men don't do that. They come home, they eat, they fuck, they go to sleep. That's it. You know, women can, you know what I mean? And
my mother couldn't cook.
And I remember watching it and it started to make me proud to be a woman, because I'm like, wow, like there's people who actually make a living. Back when it didn't pay much, you know, this was their career, was to, you know, embody their divine femme, even if they didn't identify as a female. And I was like, that's powerful. And it made me, not only I started doing drag, but doing drag helped me appreciate myself, you know? And also, even before I started doing drag, I never wanted to go to raves. I never wanted to go to clubs, because if I wanted to get sexy and cute, I would literally have to worry about men harassing me, trying to fill up on me, trying to holler at me, and all this type of stuff. Shoot, women too. I didn't come here to get a man. I didn't put this on. I wanted to look good, feel good, and have a good time. And I remember Dita Von Teese saying this. It's like, you know, it was in an interview I saw of her somewhere about getting sexy for yourself. I'm not dressing, okay, for the attention of men, okay? I'm not dressing for validation from men. I'm not dressing to be even respected and be seen as this high, holier than art thou woman. I dress to express myself. I dress to express what's divine within me. And I'm not gonna let nobody make me feel bad for that, okay? That's what I had to tell myself when I was young, okay? And so, like I said, I didn't like going to the raves. I didn't like going to the club in the hood or nothing, because if I come out there with a nice, cute dress on, you got all these people trying to holler at me, trying to talk to me, want to rub on me, think because I'm dressed up that it's for them and that gives them the leeway to do whatever. No. So guess what I did? I took my ass to the gay club, okay? Because I was like, bitch, none of these dudes want me, okay? They want Paul or Peter, okay? They don't want Chipo. So that's when I really pushed it, baby. I was coming in all types of stuff, like pasty, see-through, boop, boop, bow. And it was dope because I was getting attention, but it wasn't because they wanted to be with me. It was just like, oh my gosh, you look fab. I feel good because getting dressed like that is an art. And I'm just like, I'm out there working my thing, expressing myself, all of that. Okay. And it was amazing. It was like my safe haven, But then I remember I moved to New Orleans, right out of high school. Well, a little bit out of high school. And the men that I was around were really conscious, Hotep, Moorish, all that spirituality type of stuff, holistic people, which I was super down. I learned so much from being around them, but they would shame me all the time, like for wearing certain things, or shame other women, like she don't need to be shaking, twerking in front of all these people. Baby, twerking is indigenous, okay? That's what make my freaking ovaries be healthy. That's what makes my womb be healthy. And as a matter of fact, if I feel like throwing my ass, I'ma throw it. And I'ma throw it for the ancestors, okay? And it ain't for you to be criticizing me because you think I want a girl want attention because she's shaking, or the kids don't need to see that, okay? Because when you look in certain indigenous societies and cultures around the world, they do hip movements and ass movements, and they throw their ass in a circle from birth. And ain't nobody telling them they shouldn't be doing that. It's because people, men and women too, be sexualizing young people and people in general all the time, to the point where people don't even feel comfortable with expressing their sensuality out of fear of feeling like they're being exploited or somebody's looking at them in the wrong way. Okay? And that, I remember at the time, I used to wrap my hair up and wear clothes that I really didn't want to wear, but just because I was like, this was the right thing to do, I gotta cover up and show my body. I'm disrespecting my body. And I was like, actually, no, bitch, you portraying yourself. You're betraying yourself. Because in your heart of heart and in your soul, this is not what's bringing you freedom. This shit is enslaving you. And it's a deep topic. I can go on and on about this because it's complex emotions. Because if you are from the Americas, meaning the United States, Central America, the Caribbean, or South America, and even some places in Africa that have been colonized, there is so much trauma. But let's talk about the Americas. There's so much trauma around Black sexuality because our sexuality was exploited during slavery, okay? It was exploited during slavery, okay? Men were made humiliated through sexual activities by getting broken in by slave masters in front of people, or men's only value on plantation was the fact that they was having sex and helping and birth babies. And even women, were definitely being raped and, used as these slave masters, these white men's, sex toys, or a way they can act out their sexual fantasies on, and all this type of stuff. And don't even get me started on New Orleans and, how some women, I forgot the proper term for it, but how, the Frenchmen came out here and and if you got with a Frenchman or something like that, he'll put you up in the house and you still wouldn't be his woman. But because y'all had y'all little sexual relationship, you was able to have light-skinned kids, light-skinned Creole kids, and you could get better education for them and get paid and get money, for all this type of stuff. It's so much things. And then people experimenting on Black people sexually, just so much. All right. And I feel like that mixed in with everything makes it really a lot when it comes to sexuality with Black people. And I think, like I said, you get one end of the spectrum. Either you're acting it out in an unhealthy way, you know, you're being overly sexual, sexually deviant, but having shame, or you're having shame and covering up. You know, because that shame does one of two things. It makes you do, you know, the sexual activity in the dark, or, you know, feeling guilty about it, or it makes you not want to do it at all. Either side is not healthy. That's the whole point that I'm making. You know, there has to be a healthy relationship with intimacy and sexuality and expressing yourself, okay? And I just need people to know, you know, that just because you dress and are putting yourself out a certain way, it's not because you want a man or you want a man's approval or any of that, okay? Like I said, and I said this about a couple times in this video, there are some women and some people in general that dress, you know, in a very sensual sexual way because they want to seduce a man, they want to get a man, or they want that attention. And, you know, whether you're covered up or not, we all deal with feeling enough. You know I do. You know, just feeling like I'm enough, okay? And we just got to work on that, okay? So it's just really, I'm not judging either side because I totally respect, and I think it's really beautiful when women be covered up like this and they still, you know, it's still a value. But I just feel like, and I think it's beautiful when women, you know, are really showing the body, okay? But I think the thing you have to really dig deep and be honest with yourself about is, why am I doing this, okay? Why am I wearing this? Is this because it's something that I really want to do, or am I doing it because I feel like that's the only way I'm valuable? Because at the end of the day, baby, when I meet my divine partner or one of my soulmates, I don't think you got one soulmate in life, or whoever I'm about to rock with for however long, baby, I like them to meet me when I'm a little disheveled. You know, I got on a little t-shirt, whatever. Like, it's not even all of that, because I get to see where they head at. But I also need to know that they will be encouraging and motivating in me and expressing myself, you know, sensually, without making me feel like shame. Anyway, I think that's all I got to say on the topic right now. I could really make some more videos about this. And by the way, I love Phylicia Rashad. And as a matter of fact, she did a whole tribute to Josephine Baker. You know, Josephine Superstar. She had a whole record about celebrating. So I think that, you know, Phylicia does understand that aspect of, you know, celebrating your sensuality in the feminine body. But I understand what she's saying, to be honest. Like, she just probably feels like it's overkill, you know, nowadays. And I get it. But hey, maybe the body just wants to pop out. And yeah, but I just encourage people to do it for yourself. So on this note, this is what I gotta say. Whether you like to dress sexy in public or not, or be revealing in public or not, how about you take a page out of my book, okay? And when nobody's home, put on a little negligee, okay? Get cute, put that shit on, and just stay in the house and be with yourself, look in the mirror and feel fab, okay? How about that? Now, we ain't talking about that. Are you getting sexy when you're home alone? Because quiet as it's kept. Not me taking Funky Dineva line. But quiet as it's kept. Some of y'all be looking raggedy and scraggly in the house. Then when y'all go outside, we want to put that shit on. Now, what is that saying about you just in general? Whether it's sexy or not, whether it's just the fact that you're looking nicer for other people, that means you're dressing for other people. How about dressing for yourself? How about wearing that crazy coat that you scared to wear, or, you know, them patterns, or yeah, maybe I do want to show a little stomach today, or you know what, fuck it, I do want to wear a halter top. But it's sad because at the end of the day, like I said, being in America, you got to worry about safety as well. And not just in America, just all over the world. Because I was in Egypt. And mind you, when I was in Egypt, yes, I was naked in the desert, but it was nobody out there. But when I was in Egypt, it was nothing for me to wear covered up clothes, long sleeve, wrap myself in scarves. I thought it was beautiful. Like, I felt good in it and I appreciated it. But there's a lot of danger in expressing that side. Like, you can get stoned, you can get killed, you can get put in jail, you can get harassed. So I knew there's a time and place for everything. But it was very like, repressing, because when I did my dance class with the women in Egypt, they cried. I mean, these women were like professionally trained belly dancers and shit. But my dance classes, when I used to teach them, were all about being sensual and sexy for yourself and to feel good within yourself, to heal all of that, uncomfortableness that we feel in our body, or shame or guilt about being our divine selves, whether it be sensually, whether it be speaking up for yourself, whether it be simply just loving the person that you are. That's what the dance classes were for. Okay? And these women cried because in Egypt, while it's so conservative and they're like, women need to cover up all the time, you go in the fucking markets and you don't see nothing but belly dance clothes and lingerie, because the only time that it's okay for a woman to be sexual is for a man that she's married to or that she's with, or to dance, or the only time she can belly dance is whether it's for entertainment, like at a wedding, or for people or some kind of gathering. But she better not just be dancing just because she feel like it. Belly dancing because she feel like it. She might get stoned or put in jail. That ain't right. And these women crying because they're like, wow, like, I'm so used to doing this only for the male gaze, for, to entertain men. And I never got to do this for myself. I mean, really crying. And then also be like, damn, I never looked at myself and just, I realized I don't love myself. So I'm saying all this to say, whether, because look, whatever floats your boat, whether you like to cover up outside or whether you like to show a lot of skin like me, okay? Make sure that you are taking time to dress up and get beautiful just for yourself and not because you even got anywhere to go. Okay? Just look good and feel good for you, bitch. Y'all saw me, I'm trying to get that side angle because, bitch, I did a little updo or whatever. But yeah, just do that for you. Instead of telling women to cover up, how about we start by telling them that you are enough exactly how you are. And for the women themselves to start doing work about feeling enough, feeling worthy, feeling, and she did end with that, which was beautiful.
The lesson that I learned later in life was that I'm enough. And young girls go through this, you'll know.
Yeah.
Because it's only when we look inside ourselves that we see what beauty really is.
So when did you get to that place of worthy?
35 years old.
Wow.
Now I look back at those pictures of myself and I say, why'd you feel like that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The mind.
Oh, yeah.
The mind. That's why it's important to teach young people to look inside. The mind.
Like not needing the outward validation to feel good about myself, to feel like I deserve to be loved, I deserve to be cared for, I deserve the best in life, okay? That I am attractive, that I am beautiful, and it doesn't even have to be because of all of this, but because of my spirit, just my presence alone. It don't even have to be because I'm super smart, just because of my presence, my innocence, my however I feel, my true authentic nature. That's what's valuable. That's what makes me worthy, is being my authentic self. Start there. And then what tends to happen is as you're working through those emotions, you start to realize what you're doing for people and what you're doing for yourself. Okay? You know, even with, I remember when Meg Thee Stallion came and she was twerking her ass off at Essence, and they was like, that is not appropriate, that's not respectable. Baby, I don't know what you think people be doing when they go to Africa, especially in certain tribes. Baby, they throw ass in a circle. The grandmas, the aunties, the girls, they throw their ass in a circle. Don't make me insert the clips. In a moo and all. Okay? Sounding a little colonial to me. Let me express my divine feminine nature. And so, you know, this is why I don't know what I'm gonna do dating wise, child. Look, you just got one thing about me. You gotta know that I'm gonna do me if you're gonna be with me. Okay? And I'm not gonna disrespect you. I'm not gonna be out in these streets doing no crazy shit, because I'm very loyal. And when I like somebody and I'm with somebody, I'm locked in. But don't let your insecurities get in my way of doing me. Don't let your desire to feel in control or to dominate or to feel powerful limit me. Don't let your feelings of not feeling seen or heard shame or make me feel small. That's what we're not gonna do. In the words of Mama D, Deepa Soul Deidra, because I be messing up her name. That's what we not gonna do. So anyway, I'm so proud of myself for taking those pictures butt naked in the desert in Egypt with nothing but gold on. Because I'm like, baby, I always see these statues and hieroglyphs, you know, celebrating the feminine figure. And I'm like, instead of drawing it, I'm just going to celebrate mine. The fuck? I'm in the body now. And shoot, I ain't going to have this body forever. Okay? You know, as humans, our bodies change and evolve over time. So, yeah, I'm going to rock out like Josephine. The hell, I don't care. But yeah. F dressing, and I don't want to just put it all on men, even though I did this whole video, but dressing just for another person's attention is a chop. Like, no, I wear what I want to wear because I feel like it. Okay? And if tomorrow I want to walk around with a trash bag like Bjork, that's how you say her name, or whatever, if I want to walk around doing some avant-garde shit, wearing a dang paper bags, a trash bag, or wrapping myself up all the way up to my fucking eyes like this, okay, like Onaja, okay, then that's what I'm gonna do, because that's what I feel like doing. Okay, so all right, I'm done. Love yourself. Know that you're enough. Self-care. I'm on the journey right now. You know, do what brings you freedom. All right. And I know I didn't introduce myself at the beginning of this video, so I'm gonna do it now. I'll probably put it at the front, but my name is Chipokandake. For those of y'all who don't know. And I am living life and every day doing things that make me feel free and just make me feel good, free, and happy. That's it. That's what I do. All right, y'all.
Chipo TV. Chipo TV.